Hello everyone, this is a tutorial about interactive presentations from Go Global project. These interactive presentations work not in a traditional linear way, but in an organic way. And the main difference between a traditional PowerPoint presentation and these ones is that Google Slides let us use graphic elements in different parts of the presentation in order to link these different sections of the presentation. So we can also use elements for an external web content, of course, to link some elements of the presentation to an external website. So we can use this animating function in order to have the feeling that it's a live conversation in a way, you know, for videos. So I will start with an example in order to show you what we meant by this interactive presentation. This is one of the examples that we used on last year during the virtual exchange on Go Global Garden. And as you can see here, it looks like a normal PowerPoint presentation with slides to go ahead and so on. But this particular presentation has a different performance. There are some elements here where we can click on them in order to go to different sections of this presentation. And as you can see, every single section is in a way like a chat room where the students have exchanged their questions and their ideas through graphic elements like photo collages, or in another cases with videos and so on. So as you can see, this is not like a linear presentation on the way that we traditionally use PowerPoint, for example, but this is like an interactive presentation in the way that we can choose different elements. For example, here we can jump to the conversation between Germany and Mexico, for example, and we can see the question that they made to the other partner. In this case, Germany, we use for Germany the orange color, and for Mexico the green one, and they present two different questions through a couple of pictures in a format of a photo collage. So here the conversation is going forward, and they answer with another questions, also using pictures and so on. We have always here a button which go to the main menu, and we can select another chat room between the four different countries in our case. So this is what we meant of using these interactive presentations as a possible activity on the virtual exchange in Go Global. So how to create these interactive presentations? Well, there are two requirements in order to create this kind of presentations. One is, of course, to have an internet connection at the beginning, and afterwards we will show you an option to share the presentation for offline context as a PDF file. But well, at the beginning you need always an internet connection in order to create the presentation. And of course, in order to use this Google Slides tool, we have to get a Google account, which is free. The first steps to create this. Of course, you can choose to create a new Google slide presentation from scratch using your own design. But we also share with you our example presentation. You can make a copy of this file in order to go ahead a little bit on the way of doing it, and make more easy that you can edit it afterwards and use it for your purposes. So you will find the link of for doing this copy on your own drive on the description of this video below. In case you want to start from scratch, or even if you are using our example, always you have to find how many bilateral chat rooms you need to have on your presentation. In our case, for 4 countries, we have 6 different bilateral chat room, if we would like to call it like that, on our presentation. That means in our presentation there are these 6 different sections where bilateral conversations will happen. So you have to find how many chat rooms or how many sections on your presentation you will need. When you find already that number, you have to create a slide for each chat room. In this case, if for our 4 countries, we need at least at the beginning to create 6 different slides, which will be linked with this main menu at the beginning. Okay. When you have already created these slides on your presentation, then you have to create to make this main menu at the first slide when the presentation will start and show the different sections to go into. And in this menu, you have to add a graphic element in order to link to every single slide for these different chat rooms. And a very important point to don't forget is to include also in every single slide a graphic element which is linked to the main menu in order to go to another section of the presentation. I will show you what I mean with these things in our example. Okay, I will go out from the full screen presentation. This is the interface of Google Slides. This is quite similar to PowerPoint. On the left hand side, we will see our whole slides, all the different slides with the content. The first one will be our main menu, like this one, for example. And I love to use these slides in order to separate the sections in my presentation. Here I use these ones. These slides we will not show them to the public on the interactive presentation mode, but this is just a structural way of dividing what is happening in my presentation. Here I mean under this slide it will be the chat room between Germany and India. So I will start with this slide, and here as I say, we are using the code of colors for every single country, in this case Germany with orange, India with red, and we put these elements. These elements are just figures or shapes which we can choose from this menu, And we suggest to use this is to pick it here, the element, and with the function copy and paste to include it on the presentation. If we need it, we can adjust the size of the element, the position, of course, and then we can include here the picture, or inserting an image, or inserting even a video, or whatever we want. And here on the body of this element, we can write these questions, you know. So that's the way we can include new elements of this conversation, this virtual dialogue, if you will say. Of course, we have also this kind of elements which we can use to create a link for the next slide, in case that there are more than 2 or 3 questions. When the space from one slide is not enough to express the whole conversation, we can include another slide. My recommendation is to go here and click on copy the slide and paste the slide under the new one. In that way, we can stay adding new slides, and it's important that we add these new slides under the one before. For every single group or for every single chat room, I will have these kind of slides, this group of slides where the conversation is happening. Okay, so how can I link from this main menu in order that the people when click on this element, they are going to the right section? So this is the bottom of the German-Indian conversation chat room. So if normally when I include this element from the beginning, from this shape menu, I will find that there are not a link over there. Here is because we are using our example and the elements are already linked. But at the beginning, or by default, I found these elements like that, in this way. So in order to include that link, I have to click over this function, this button here, insert a link, and there are 2 options: to paste an external link to a website or whatever, but this is not the case. We would like to link this element to a slide on our internal presentation. Which slide is that one? I can see here that my chat room between Germany and India is starting on the 3rd slide. So I will pick that slide up and I will say apply the changes. And now every time that I click on this element, I will see that there is linked, this element is linked with the slide number 3. What is happening with this one is linked to the slide number 6, because here the slide is telling me up to the slide number 6 is starting the conversation between Germany and Mexico. So I have to link this chat room to the slide number 6. Here I can see the German South African chat room is starting on the slide number 10. So my menu here, my menu button, has to be linked to that slide. Sorry, here is the link. And if I click here, I will go to the slide and I can check if it's correct, if it's working right now. So this is important to check if these links are already, if they are correct on that way, if they are working. You can check it like in the edition mode, or even you can go into the presentation mode and check if this is working. If you can see, there are some elements here in the presentation that where the cursor is changing between the arrow and the little hand, and that means that there is a link to somewhere. In that case, we are linking to our web page, but here we are linking for an internal element. Is this slide, and is starting to presenting that part of the content. At the end, we have this arrow, and this arrow is also linked to the next slide, or in this case to the preview slide, if I would like to repeat the conversation and see it again. These are also possible and are already programmed here. If you see this element, there is an option here to link with the next slide or the previous slide, or even with the first slide or the last slide. In this case, we would like to have this arrow as a link for the next slide, so we have to pick at this and apply. And you can see that there is the link to the next slide. Wherever this slide is, if I change the order of the slides here, it doesn't matter. They will be the next slide always. It's not important, it's not regarding to the number. This is quite different from these menus. These menus are fixed. They are always the same number of the slide. This conversation between Germany and Mexico is always starting on the slide number 6, the conversation between Germany and South Africa on the number 10, and so on. These are fixed links, and these are relative links, you know? So another important point is in every single slide there has to be an element to go to the main menu or to link with another sections. In this example, we have both of them. This element here, the logo of Go Global Garden, is always referring or linked with the slide number 1, which is called Exchange Example Run. It's our first slide on the presentation, and it's our menu. So in that way, the user has always the opportunity, if they already saw this conversation between Germany and India, they can go to the beginning of the presentation and choose another conversation. Or in the case that they are already there in a specific conversation, we included that menu also on the top of every single slide. So in that way, we can choose here, for example, and go to the conversation between Mexico and Germany, or go into the conversation between India and Mexico, for instance. And in that way, we are always letting the user to have a link to go to another part of our presentation. This is very important in order to do these interactive presentations. How to use these presentations as a collaborative presentations, because we are doing this communication amongst different people over the world. So how to use it? That's a very important function that this Google Slide tool has, and it's called share. We can use these files as shared files in order to edit it and modify it together with another people around the world. If these people is having internet connection, they will be able to edit it and contribute with their pictures or videos, or their questions or their answers. So I will show you how these share options are working and how to use it. I will go back to our example, and you will see here there are the options of share this presentation, and you can choose whatever you want. In this main menu here, you can find the different main options. In that case, I am using Google Suite in my domain, so I can setting only for the people in my domain, or even with the people around the world, but they only if they know the link. Or for example, here will be the option to put it on the internet as a public element. And if I choose this option here, is just for these specific people on the private way, and I will send them this the invitation to collaborate in their emails. Of course, they have to have a Google account in order to edit and contribute on that presentation. And in every single status, you can define what is what kind of access they will have. If I select here anyone with the link, what can they do? They can only view the information, they can edit the information, or they can only comment what they see on the presentation. In case you are sharing this presentation with the people who are part of the exchange, of course you have to choose this option in order that they can edit it and include more pictures, more videos, more information, and be part of the exchange. Okay, at the end you have to change to say the changes, and the other options to share this presentation is, one is publishing this presentation on the web. If we would like to do that, we have to be aware that our presentation, it will be public. If I click on publish, I will find afterwards the code, the iframe code that I have to embed on my website. If you choose some of these options here, you will see that is updated on the code is changed in order that you have these settings in the right way on your code. Okay, this is the way that we can share or embed this presentation in any single website on the internet. And if we would like to stop this publishing, if we would like to don't have this presentation public on the internet anymore, we can stop publishing here and say OK, and we will have again our presentation in the private way based on our share settings. The last way that I would like to show you, of course, you can download this presentation in many different formats, in many different file formats, in order to share it as an offline version of your presentation, of your interactive presentation. My recommendation is always to choose the PDF document in terms of avoid problems with compatibility between Google Slides and Microsoft PowerPoint, or even LibreOffice, or another kind of software to make presentations. There are always problems from compatibility in these different softwares. So my recommendation, in order to avoid that problem with the design or etc., is choosing the PDF document. Then you have to you will get a normal PDF document. If I save it here, as you can see here, if I put the full screen mode of the PDF, I can go through the different slides in an interactive way. Of course, here are not working the animation effects that we put on these elements, of course not, but at least I can jump from one section to another and navigate or surfing on this file in a quite an organic way in that sense. So that's a very good or nice way to share this kind of presentation in an offline way. Okay, this is just like an extra information for those who are interested to know how to calculate how many chat rooms or section in your presentation you will need based on the number of different groups which are involved on the virtual exchange. You can use this formula here. Is a formula of a combination, a mathematical combination from n elements taken by a group of 2, because we are using bilateral communication in this case, and you can use this formula in order to calculate your own chat rooms in case that you have a different number of members for your virtual exchange. In our case, we were working with 4 different countries, Germany, Mexico, India, and South Africa, and this number is coming here. N is that number. So in the formula below, you can see the substitution and the formula for this for n equal to 4, and it's an interesting way also for those math teachers to use as an example of a practical application of combinations in a way with the students. If you are interested, I can recommend you to check the very nice content on Khan Academy about combinations and permutations. There are a lot of videos also in YouTube which explain this concept, but there are just in our example this the substitution on this formula is we are getting 6 different chat rooms. If you are more interested, you can find the link on to the Khan Academy about this topic on the description too. And if you have more questions or some specific doubts about how to do it this interactive presentation, don't hesitate to contact me personally. You can find me in Twitter as Gio Fonseca. I will let the contact information on the video, and see you in the next tutorial.